engineers, and the Departments of Wildland and Fisheries and the Environmental Quality will offer helpful information to attendees. The seminar is open to the public, and participants may register in advance by contacting LDNR Coastal Management Division at 1-800-267-4019. Public school registration for children beginning kindergarten and first grade for the 2004-2005 school session will be held in all primary schools throughout Terrebonne Parish, beginning on Monday, February 16th and Tuesday, February 17th. In order to be eligible to register for kindergarten, a child must be 5 years of age on or before September 30th. In order to register a child for the first grade, a child must be 6 years of age on or before September 30th. Parents must present a birth certificate, immunization records, Social Security card, and proof of their domicile address by the required deadline. Veterans in Lafourche, Terrebonne, St. Mary, and even Assumption parishes can look forward to the VA bringing healthcare services closer to home with a new clinic scheduled to open in Houma in late spring or early summer. The new clinic will improve access to care for nearly 20,000 veterans in this area who drive to New Orleans for care. The clinic will be contracted, not built or leased, giving the VA flexibility to continue to meet the growing needs of veterans in this area. Services that the clinic will provide in Houma include a plan to meet the nutritional and dietetic needs for veterans, and a plan to provide at least 7 to 10 day supply of new medications, lab, radiology, and other diagnostic services, and emergency care services. VA Medical Center management has met with local veterans services organizations and are in a technical review phase of the solicitation for contract assessing. The VA is committed to starting the clinic as soon as possible while maintaining high standards of care that veterans expect and deserve. For more information, contact the Community and Public Relations Office at 504-589-5218. It's now time for the LSU Ag News Update with Toby Blanchard.
A cow in the United States tested positive for BSE, commonly known as mad cow disease. Despite this, Bob Felkner with the Louisiana Cattlemen's Association says the U.S. beef supply is safe.
We know that we've got the best meat inspection program in the world. We know we got the safest food supply in the world, so you could not buy a better product than buying American beef.
Felkner says the industry is responding to last month's findings, and improvements are being made.
Well, the inspection programs are being enhanced. We're putting some more dollars in that. The animals that look like they would be susceptible to the BSE problem are being scrutinized closer.
Downer animals are those that are non-ambulatory or can no longer walk.
Those animals are no longer slaughtered and put into the food process at all, so just as an abundance of safety, every downer animal is pulled aside, so none of that enters the food chain whatsoever.
That was Bob Felkner with the Louisiana Cattlemen's Association. This is Toby Blanchard reporting.
In state news today, one of the two teenagers accused in an alleged plot to recreate Columbine attacks at Dutchtown High School has been freed from jail on bond. Officials say 17-year-old Christopher Levins of Prairieville posted a $75,000 bond last night and was released. Levins and 19-year-old sophomore Adam Sinclair were arrested 2 weeks ago and charged with terrorizing. Sinclair remains jailed. Detectives have said both Levins and Sinclair plan to wake up at 4:20 the morning of April 20th, smoke marijuana, and then go on a killing spree at Dutchtown High School. During a search of Levins and Sinclair's homes and school lockers, deputies found drawings displaying the shooting of a Dutchtown teacher, a depiction of the Columbine High School shootings that occurred April 20th, 1999 in Littleton, Colorado, and black military-style clothing such as combat boots, battle dress uniforms, and black wool caps. Sheriff Jeff Wiley also said his department has evidence that Levins and Sinclair had a specific plan to obtain shotguns and rifles. The next step for Levins and Sinclair is a formal arraignment. A date for that proceeding has not yet been set. Attorneys for a man accused of a serial killing spree in southern Louisiana have taken the request for defense funds to an appeals court. At issue before the First Circuit Court of Appeal is a judge's refusal to sign an order that could clear the way for the Louisiana Indigent Defender Board to provide money for Derek Todd Lee's defense. The board told Public Defender Mike Mitchell that it would consider a request if State District Judge Richard Anderson signed an order setting out where Lee needed expert assistance. Anderson has refused to sign the order. He has said that Lee's defense can be adequately financed through the East Baton Rouge Parish Indigent Defender Board, which has a $1.8 million annual budget. Mitchell has said that a proper defense for Lee could cost as much as $800,000. Lee faces trial March 1st on a first-degree murder charge in the killing of Charlotte Marie Pace. Prosecutors say that DNA links Lee to 5 other killings and the attempted murder of another woman. Lee has pleaded innocent. Reality TV is coming to Baton Rouge. A new dramatic reality television series based on the lives of 8 Southern University students will be broadcast on the cable television station BET. The cast of College Hill will be introduced tomorrow, the first of 13 episodes produced by the Edmonds Entertainment Group, which also produced the award-winning film Soul Food and the cable television series of the same name. College Hill's executive producer Tracy Edmonds says there are some hysterically funny parts to the series, as well as some scenes that are deep, troubling, and sometimes a little painful. But she notes that that's why reality TV is all about. The cast members' hometowns and majors are Nina, she is from Shreveport, and she is senior in marketing. Kevin from Los Angeles, a junior in sociology. Delano from Los Angeles, a senior in mass communication. Shalandra from Shreveport, a sophomore in elementary education. Kenda from Baton Rouge, a freshman, undecided. Gabriel from Dallas, a senior in biology and pre-med. Veronica from Houston, a sophomore in marketing. And Jabari from Chicago, a junior in computer science. The show airs at 8 p.m. January 28th on BET. A ban keeping the State Department of Wildlife and Fisheries from using hunting license and export tax revenue to market Louisiana's alligator industry will be the focus of a federal appeals court hearing in March. The ban has been in effect since July 1st. A Kenner alligator processing firm, which sells hides to the high-end fashion industry in Europe and Asia, alleges that the compelling alligator farmers to subsidize advertising amounts to forced commercial speech and violates the First Amendment. The department contends its generic marketing programs constitute government speech, exempt from First Amendment scrutiny. Pelts and Skins of Kenner, which sued the department in 2002, exports 80,000-plus raw alligator skins annually and has the world's largest alligator farming operation. Pelts and Skins maintains that generic advertising reduces a high-end luxury item to the status of a commodity and depresses the prices of the entire product. Louisiana requires resident alligator hunters to pay a $25 annual license fee and processors to pay an export tax for each hide shipped out of the state. The export fee was $4 until 2002 when the department reduced it to $2. And it's now time for Get It Growing from the LSU Ag Center.
We'll be talking about rooting cuttings coming up next on Get It Growing.
Oldie 640 KTIB addresses the local issues that affect Thibodaux and the surrounding area on Dialogue, South Louisiana's longest-running weekly morning talk show with host Gene Richard. Listen to Dialogue Monday through Friday after the 7 a.m. news as Gene features local guests from the community and your chance to call in live with comments or questions. Dialogue Monday through Friday after the 7 a.m. news on Oldie 640 KTIB.
Gardeners love to propagate their own plants. There's something really wonderful about taking a piece from one plant, rooting it, and growing a whole new independent plant from it. It's a great way of creating new plants to use in your own landscape or to share or trade with friends. Now, we don't take cuttings from very many different kinds of plants this time of the year, but there are a few. You can take cuttings from roses, figs, pears, and hydrangeas this time of the year. Generally speaking, the cuttings should be about 6 inches long, taken from the tips of branches. Dip the lower end of the cutting in rooting hormone powder that you can find at your local nursery or garden center. Plant the cuttings in potting soil. Keep them in a warm location with bright light and mist them occasionally if they've got leaves on them, like in rose cuttings. They'll root for you in about 4 to 6 weeks, and you can pot them up then. For Get It Growing, I'm Dan Gill with the LSU Ag Center.
Now for a look at your weather forecast. For tonight, clear skies, lows in the mid-30s. For Wednesday, mostly sunny, highs in the mid-50s. And for Wednesday night, partly cloudy, lows in the upper 30s. And there is a freeze alert out for tonight. So cover up those pipes. With the Oldie 640 KTIB News, I'm Jayson Lee. Stay tuned. Bayou Sports Talk with William Taylor is up next.
Oldies 640 KTIB, William Taylor with you on this special Tuesday here in the Bayou State. Good to be with you as always. This, by the way, we're calling it a special day at 5:16 p.m. because this is our first anniversary show, or at least the first anniversary of myself hosting Bayou Sports Talk. 11 months before I signed on, of course, our friend Brennan was the host of the show. So we're going to try to have some special programming for you today. We're still going to cover the basics of sports in our area. We'll try to give you some updates as well. One report, in fact, has Boston Celtics coach Jim O'Brien leaving his post today. That's all we know of right now. We don't have any particular reason as to why it happened. But that's the most latest interesting news in sports. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. But first, Jason mentioned the freeze warning in effect, and let me go over what the Weather Service has in detail on that. Basically, dry air will allow temperatures to drop into the mid-20s across the warned area after midnight for several hours, especially north and west of Lake Pontchartrain, Lake Maurepas. Precautions should be taken to protect elderly and the homeless. If you want to protect your mother-in-law, that's up to you, but anyway. And in some areas, of course, sensitive plants and pets, of course, you ought to bring them inside. Exposed water pipes in some regions. Now, let me flip the page real quickly. Specifically for us, they put us in the mid-30s. However, I've been noticing this forecast lately has been keeping us a little warm. Don't be surprised if in the Thibodaux area we get down into the upper 20s tonight. Now, normal criteria to start worrying about your pipes would be 28 degrees Fahrenheit or less for 4 hours or more. But right now, that's up in the air. If in the Thibodaux area, we will get that cold. So we'll see how that happens. Oh, before we go any further, Jason has a question for me.
William, it is your one-year anniversary. Where is Vanessa?
Well, I guess she didn't get the invitation. So either that or, she had to do something important like blow dry her hair or something, So, but we'll try to make our best without her. We'll do our best on the show, and I'll disappoint all of you that Vanessa couldn't be on the anniversary show. So we'll just have to wait for another day, another special occasion. Like Eric Estrada's birthday, that'd be a great time to have Vanessa on the show. We know how important that day is to all Americans. So, but anyway, let me get back to the weather forecast on a serious note. For us, they're giving us lows in the mid-30s, but frankly, I'm not going to be surprised if we do get down into the upper 20s. Now, if you're in the northern part of our listening area, especially going into the Baton Rouge area, your region is probably in a much better situation to have to cover the pipes outside. Once again, criteria is temperatures 28 degrees Fahrenheit or less for 4 hours or more. So if you're in the northern part of our listening area, my advice would be to go ahead and cover the pipes. If you live in the Thibodaux area, it probably wouldn't hurt to cover them. I'll see that right now. And if you live between Thibodaux, let's say in the coastal areas, the odds are you probably shouldn't have to worry about the pipes. Now, for those of you in the so-called pipe areas, as I'll call it tonight, from roughly Thibodaux northward, my advice to all of you, so that water pressure does not get too low, because we definitely don't want to get the water pressure screwed up too much. Just plain and simple advice, if you would like, you can run one water faucet on the inside of your house at no bigger than a pencil lead stream of water. That's it. And make sure you unplug your drain. You don't want to wake up to a wet floor or wet carpet. So basically, just one faucet inside if you live from Thibodaux northward at no more than a pencil lead stream of water. And that way you won't have to worry about water pressure dropping too much. And then when you get up in the morning around 5, 6 a.m. like I do, you can just shut the water off. And also another bit of advice, if you are going to turn the water on at that very thin stream of water, don't do it until it's time to go to bed, 9, 10 o'clock, or in my case, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning. But enough about my life. So just do that just to be on the safe side, though if you live south of Thibodaux, the odds are you probably won't have to run your pipes tonight. Oh, and also another little trick I've learned over the years, another way to keep your interior pipes warm is to leave the cabinets open under the sink. That way some of the warm air from your heater can circulate around the pipes and keep them warm as well. Another little household hint from Heloise, by the way. Okay, so we know about tonight. North winds are going to diminish to 10 to 15. In fact, they're not blowing too hard right now, so it won't affect. So you won't have much of a wind chill like you did during today. For tomorrow, very sunny day with highs in the mid-50s, upper 30s Wednesday night. Now Thursday is when the weather starts to change. Thursday into Thursday night is going to be our rainy day. 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the lower 60s, southeast winds 10 to 15. An 80% chance of rain Thursday night. Lows in the mid-50s. South winds 10 to 15, becoming west 15 to 20 after midnight. Once again, it's an 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms. And right now the Weather Service says it's not out of the question. One or two could reach strong or severe limits, though we'll check that again tomorrow morning. Early Friday morning, a 10% chance of showers, then becoming partly cloudy with highs in the mid-60s, becoming windy behind the front. For Friday night, partly cloudy, becoming clearer later, lows in the mid-40s. Partly cloudy Saturday, highs in the lower 60s. Another chance of rain Saturday night into Sunday morning, but for right now, that's only at 20%. Sunday, our highs will only be in the lower 50s. Now, I've also checked the Weather Service forecast for the areas in the Houston area for Super Bowl Sunday, in case any of you might be going to the big game. Right now, the weather forecast for Sunday, they only give the Houston area a 20% chance of showers. Ironically, that is in the early morning hours as well. And then, and let me see, yeah, and highs in the lower 60s. So a pretty average winter day for Southeast Texas standards. Now, and of course, the NFL has stated, if you're lucky to go to the game, that the roof of the stadium will be closed for pregame. But if it's not raining, they will open the roof for the game. And of course, they put in another stipulation that if it starts to rain during the game, which at this point I don't think will happen, but of course that could always change, that they will shut the roof in that case and leave it shut for the rest of the game. So we'll hang on to this forecast, and we'll update you one more time before we head out today. Now, let me go over, get this card over here. Sports on TV for tonight. ESPN Classic at 7 o'clock. Sports Century about Lyle Zato. Cox Sports Television at 7 has women's college basketball, Alabama State at Southern. ESPN at 6 o'clock, more men's basketball this time, Purdue at Indiana. At 8 p.m., ESPN will have the Winter X Games. ESPN2 at 7:30, basketball, Florida A&M at Alabama. Then at 9:30, continued action of the Australian Open. Fox Sports Southwest at 8:30 will have football today, which is a very informative show. And at 9 o'clock is the Southwest Sports Report, which mainly focuses on teams in New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And if you have any email questions for the show, please write us at BayouSports2003@yahoo.com. And in addition, a friendly reminder, the New Orleans Voodoo of Arena Football, they'll start their season on February the 8th at 2 o'clock, which will be on NBC, by the way. That game will be at Philadelphia. Their first home game will be on Valentine's Day, 2 p.m. against the Indiana Firebirds. I believe Steve DeBerg is now the head coach of the Indiana Firebirds. Blaine Besh is also on that team. I'm sorry, I can't remember if it's Blaine or Brett Besh. One of the Besh brothers is playing for Indiana. I think it's Brett, if my memory's correct. All right, high school basketball schedule for tonight includes South Lafourche at Central Lafourche, East St. John at Terrebonne, Ellender at Hahnville, H.L. Bourgeois at Thibodaux, Reserve Christian at Assumption, John Curtis at Chalmette, Patterson at South Terrebonne, Vanderbilt at Westminster, Donaldsonville at St. Charles, Edie White at St. James. And I'll tell you what, speaking of high schools, I don't know if y'all have heard recently, this is going to be, I realize the Super Bowl is probably going to take some dominance on the news broadcast between now and Sunday, but you know, Friday here in the state of Louisiana is the annual convention of the LHSAA and the member principals and coaches. And this Friday, all the principals are going to be voting on a real interesting rule change for football. I don't know if it affects football or the other sports, or just football or the other sports in high school as well. But this vote is mainly focusing on football, where basically it's a vote to decide whether or not we are going to have separate public and private school championships in all 5 classifications. One sports media person told me today, he thinks if this vote is affirmative, that what will end up happening, that he thinks it could really hurt some of the smaller schools in this kind of setup. Reason being is that the, as the smaller schools may not have as much competition, because I think one phrasing of the bill is that they, how can I say this properly, that the play would remain separate during the regular season. And if that's the case, some of the smaller high schools may not have as much close proximity competition with one another. Now, I think there's other versions of this bill, but the main emphasis on this possible rule change would be that that basically we would have 10 champions every year instead of 5. I don't know if it were to pass this way, how it would affect the Nokia sponsorship of the annual high school championships in the Sugar Bowl. that's a little bit way too early to assume anything. But these are just some things to think about, because from what I'm gathering, if this does pass, it may not be a great thing like it sounds. And in addition to everything we just stated, about 5 years ago, actually closer to 7 years ago, they tried a similar vote, but it failed because it just needs a simple majority, one more than 50% to pass. It's not like a 2/3 majority like you might have in the House or the Senate. So, boy, it's folks, this is going to be a very interesting topic, and I know some of the outlets out in New Orleans will be covering this. So stay tuned to this story, folks. I know our news department will report something on Friday if the vote occurs during the daytime, which I think it will. So anyway, I just wanted to let y'all all know about that. It's going to be an interesting vote one way or the other. Now, our game schedule coming up this week on Oldie 640, LSU basketball on tomorrow night, that is. They'll be taking on the University of Georgia. The tip-off for that will be at 7 o'clock. Nicholls State University basketball will be Thursday night against Texas Arlington. And by the way, that will be at Texas Arlington. The tip-off for that is at 8 o'clock. And Friday, we'll have coverage at the Hornets. Tip-off is at 6, pregame at 5:30, as they'll take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, on Saturday, we'll have Nicholls State basketball. They'll be taking on Texas San Antonio. And following that, we'll be having LSU basketball. So a whole lot of fun coming up in the next few days right here on Oldie 640 KTIB. Time right now is 5:27 on the old ticker. And so let me go ahead and give y'all some of the NBA basketball scores from last night. Last night, it was Cleveland over Orlando, 99-98. Portland over Washington, 94-83. Miami over Houston, 95-81. Milwaukee over San Antonio, 93-92. Minnesota over Denver, 97-95. Utah over the Clippers, 98-93. All right, games on tap tonight in the NBA include New Jersey at Philadelphia, Phoenix at Atlanta, San Antonio at the Knicks, Dallas at Seattle, and Chicago will be at the LA Clippers. Okay, time right now is 5:28, and let me gather some other notes here real quickly. I'm just jumping all over the place today. Oh, by the way, later on today, we'll have some special awards for our first anniversary show, including we'll have 2 special awards we're going to give out on the air today. One will be for in-studio guest of the year, and also either phone or audio-taped guest of the year. So we have 2 separate categories for guest of the year. And we'll tell you about that in a little bit. But first, while it's in front of me, let's talk about LSU baseball. You know, just a few days away from the start of the regular baseball season. I think next week we'll be carrying one of the Nicholls State games. But let me briefly go over the early part of the LSU baseball schedule. They'll start in just a couple of days, January the 30th. It's the LSU alumni game. That'll be played at 6:30 p.m. at Alex Box Stadium in Baton Rouge. LSU's regular season kicks off starting the weekend of February the 13th against Central Florida. That game will be played in Orlando at J. Bergman Field. All right, then LSU's regular season home opener will be on February 17th against my old school, ULM. That's at 6:30 start. All right, the rest of the games for February. 3-game series in Baton Rouge against Jacksonville State on starting February the 20th. Then at Zephyr Field in Metairie, they'll take on SLU. And that'll start at 6:30 p.m., so I'm sure a lot of Tiger fans will take the trek to New Orleans for that. And then starting the weekend of February 27th through Leap Year Day, ironically, in Baton Rouge, LSU will be hosting Texas State University. So that should be a whole lot of fun. And I'll throw in one more game on March 2nd. Also at Zephyr Field in Metairie, LSU takes on Tulane. And we know that rivalry is still pretty exciting. And just for the heck of it, postseason play this year will start May 26th with the SEC tournament in Hoover, Alabama. Don't know if that's related to the vacuum cleaner or not. And then the NCAA regionals on starting June 4th, Super Regionals June 11th. College World Series this year starts on June the 18th. All right, let me go over the sports schedule for some of the regional teams that I haven't mentioned already. Well, some I've mentioned, but of course the Hornets will play this Wednesday night in New Orleans. That tip-off is at 7 o'clock, and we mentioned earlier Friday at Philadelphia, tip-off at 6. And then on Saturday the 31st, they will be playing a home game. The Hornets will be against Miami. That tip-off will be at 7 o'clock. Nicholls State University, both the men and the women, will be playing at Texas Arlington on Thursday. And let me check this real quickly. The women will start at 5:45 p.m., the men at 8 p.m., and then Texas San Antonio, at Texas San Antonio that is, The women will start at 2 p.m., with the men starting at 4 p.m. So it's like a lot of exciting basketball action right there. Also, don't forget about LSU, the men's basketball team. They'll be taking on the University of Georgia on the 28th, which I believe is tomorrow. That will start at 7 p.m. And the next scheduled game for LSU's women's team will be on February the 1st in Baton Rouge at 2 o'clock as they take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. All right, 5:31 on the old ticker, and we got a real exciting soundbite for you coming up later in the show, so stay tuned for that. I've already tipped off one gentleman in Baton Rouge what we're going to play. AP Top 25, this is for men's basketball. Duke is number 1, Stanford 2, St. Joseph 3, Louisville 4th, and of course we heard the sad news that Coach Rick Pitino of Louisville is stepping down for a little while because of a medical problem. He said it is not prostate cancer related, but it has something to do with urology, so that he may be out for as little as through the end of this month. It could be longer. It's not really been disclosed how serious of an illness he may have, but of course we wish him a lot of hope, a lot of luck with his situation. Of course, Kentucky is 5th, Connecticut 6, Pittsburgh 7, Cincinnati 8, Arizona 9, and Gonzaga 10. The rest of the men's top 25, starting with 11, Mississippi State, North Carolina, Texas Tech, Georgia Tech, Kansas, Texas, Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, Wake Forest, Syracuse, Purdue, Florida, Providence, South Carolina, and finally Oklahoma, number 25. And if I get the pages to stop sticking to one another, I'll read you the women's top 25. Number 1, Tennessee, and I believe their coach Pat Summitt got re-signed to a contract extension through either 07 or 08. Duke is number 2, Texas 3. Connecticut 4, Penn State 5, Purdue 6, Texas Tech 7, Stanford 8, Louisiana Tech is now 9th, North Carolina, 10th. The rest of the top 25, starting with 11, Colorado, Kansas State, DePaul, Minnesota, LSU is now 15th, Baylor, Miami, Michigan State, Georgia, Oklahoma, TCU, Auburn, Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt, and number 25 is Nebraska. So, okay, folks, I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break. When we come back from the break, we got a special Trivia ThinkPad question for all of you on this first anniversary. And I believe we're also going to have a special Closet Sports soundbite as well. If you're a Tiger fan, LSU Tiger fan, you're really going to enjoy this soundbite today. I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with something of recent footage, so we'll get to that in a little bit. And as always, you're listening to Bayou Sports Talk on only 640 KTIB. We'll come back with a lot more excitement and a couple awards to give out right after these important messages.
Roby-Show Ford has huge New Year discounts for 2004. Go, go, go to Roby-Show Ford and test drive the new 2004 Ford Freestar ES with lots of room, automatic, 4-door, 3rd seat, cruise, front and rear AC, and more for only $24,412. Roby-Show Ford also has a larger selection of Super Duty trucks with huge discounts. Take a look at the new 2004 Explorer Sport Track V6 automatic, aluminum wheels, CD player, bucket seats, and more for only $19,889. Don't forget the savings on Roby-Show's used and program vehicles in stock. Go, go, go to Roby-Show Ford. Ask about all the huge New Year discounts. Roby-Show Ford, 272 West Main Street, Thibodaux. All prices exclude tax, title, and license and include all applicable rebates and incentives. Designs and Windows in the new St. Charles Plaza invites you to its $1 million Oriental Rug Sale today through this Saturday, featuring a huge inventory of genuine imported, handmade, fine quality Persian and Oriental rugs in a full range of patterns and sizes, from 2 by 3 feet to 12 by 18 feet. Exquisite rugs and runners that add a touch of class to any home at savings of 50 to 70% off listed prices. It's affordable elegance you can't afford to miss. These handmade Oriental rugs are rarely offered at these savings. That's why this huge Oriental Rug Sale won't last long. Hurry in for the area's greatest Oriental Rug Sale ever. First come, first serve. No rain checks at these prices. Hurry with your fabric, wallpaper, and paint samples for best selection. Today through Saturday only. Tight on cash. Qualified buyers, 12-month, no interest. If you're in the market for an Oriental rug, don't miss Designs and Windows' huge $1 million handmade Oriental Rug Sale at savings of 50 to 70% off. Designs and Windows, located in the new St. Charles Plaza. Sale ends this Saturday.
This is Stacy Keach. You're journeying into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone radio dramas.
Tune into the Twilight Zone radio dramas at a new time. Every Saturday, now at 8 a.m. on Oldie 640 KTIB.
All of us here at Oldie 640 KTIB like it when you win. However, we like others to win too. So we do have some rules. One winner per household for 30 days. Staff of KTIB and immediate family of KTIB employees are not eligible. Prizes may be picked up at our office during normal business hours. Winners have 10 business days to claim their prize from the day they won. KTIB is located at 108 Green Street in the heart of downtown Thibodaux. Thanks for listening and good luck from Oldie 640 KTIB.
Welcome back to our first anniversary edition of, at least of me hosting anyway, Bayou Sports Talk at 5:37. And what we're going to do right now is give out an award. So let's play some special music, shall we? That's right. As we play our special little music right here, we're going to give out an award for our first anniversary of being here on Bayou Sports Talk. Didn't have much time to go over the notes. But anyway, this first award we're going to give out is going to go to our best guest, either by audio tape or by phone. And let's see who the winner is. Don't you just love that music? All right, let me find my envelope real quickly here. Here we go. And the winner is Troy Johnson. So congratulations to Troy Johnson for being our telephone/audio guest of the year, of our first year. So congratulations to Troy on that established award. Now, stay tuned, folks. Later on in the show, we'll give out our award for Best In-Studio Guest. But if you've heard this show before, a lot of you are going to kind of have an idea as to who it is. All right, let me get some more Louisiana-oriented sports news before we play our nice surprise. Coach Nick Saban has hired Bobby Williams, who replaced him as head coach at Michigan State as an assistant. Williams, who was fired by Michigan State during the 2002 season, was receivers coach with the Detroit Lions last year. Saban said Williams' position on the LSU staff will be determined once the remaining two positions on the coaching staff have been filled. The Hornets rookie forward David West is expected back on the court tomorrow when the team takes on the Bucks. West had been sidelined since January 10th due to a bone bruise in his right knee. Yesterday, he practiced for the first time since suffering the injury. Saints have signed 12 free agents at various positions, including cornerback, running back, tight end, and wide receiver. Among them include Tavian Banks, who competed for a reserve running back spot in Saints training camp last season and spent part of the year on the club's practice squad, and former LSU cornerback Fred Booker, who has spent time with the Eagles, 49ers, and Redskins. Last year, Booker played for the Amsterdam Admirals of NFL Europe, posting 27 tackles and an interception, and we did get this confirmed. They are no relation to Maury Amsterdam. Well, you got to be really old to remember that. But anyway, and Grambling State's coaching staff continues an off-season remake with the resignation of offensive line coach Marshall Hayes. Coach Doug Williams announced Hayes' resignation today, saying Hayes plans to pursue other avenues. Okay, time right now, 5:39. Another Hornets note. We don't want to forget this. The New Orleans Hornets activated Jamal Mashburn today. That means the star small forward is expected to play his first game of the season tomorrow night against the visiting Milwaukee Bucks. And, of course, that had been announced. He had been rehabbing for a while in the Miami area, but he is coming on back. So hopefully the Hornets will turn around. So on this special day, let's go to one of our favorite regular segments, which as always is Trivia ThinkPad, question of the day. Okie dokie then. All right, everybody needs to put on their thinking caps today for this question. Wayne Gretzky earned 7 assists on February 15th, 1980 to tie an NHL record for most assists in a game. Whose record did he tie? Now, I know there might not be a whole lot of hockey fans here compared to the northern part or the western part of the United States, but I'm going to repeat this. Wayne Gretzky earned 7 assists on February 15, 1980, to tie an NHL record for most assists in a game. Whose record did he tie? Well, the gentleman's name, Bill Taylor. So that's why we did that one today, because of the anniversary. That's the name of the gentleman, Bill Taylor, is now tied, at least as of 1980, tied with Wayne Gretzky, try to say that 5 times fast, for most assists in an NHL game through 1980. Let's go to our next favorite segment, which as always is... a trip down memory lane on the Closet Sports Soundbite. Well, folks, okay, I promised you something special for the first anniversary show, and we found it. I found someone's audio from this past Saturday when the LSU Tigers had their championship celebration in the Tiger Stadium to basically formally present the LSU team with many of their trophies they won this year. That way it could be formally presented amongst all the fans that were in the stadium. Of course, many media outlets, radio, television, print, covered this event. So right now, in edited fashion, we're going to bring you some of the highlights, about 10, 15 minutes worth of highlights from the Tiger Stadium celebration. First, you'll hear the voice of one-time KTIB employee, now voice of Tiger Stadium, Dan Bournet, followed by Michael Clayton, Matt Mauck, and Nick Saban. And at the end, you will hear the formal presentation of the LSU National Championship banner being flown for the first time at Tiger Stadium, along with some very impressive marching band music after that. So let's go to this very special soundbite right now.
We're going to hear from 2 of the young men who led this team to a 13-1 record, a Southeastern Conference title, and LSU's first national championship since 1958. Let's welcome wide receiver Michael Clayton.
First of all, I would like to thank God for sending His blessings down to the state of Louisiana. He's been good to us all. When I was a senior in high school, I came to the opening game, and the stadium wasn't quite as full. And I was a little skeptical about where I was going to school. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I was going to go to Florida State or Miami. But I came back to a game when LSU played Tennessee. The Tigers won that game in overtime. And I was sitting right up there when I saw the 90,000 fans from the stadium charge the field. And I knew then that I wanted to be a part of something special. It's been that way since I've been here for 3 years playing under Coach Saban. It's been an honor. I speak on behalf of the whole football team that we dedicated everything that we wanted to do at LSU. We dedicate this to Jeff Boss's family. We were dedicated to success, and one of the highlights of this season, it wasn't to win a national championship. That wasn't our goal. Our goal was to play like champions, and we did that this year. And next year, Coach Saban, I won't be here. But the Tigers will be running again for another national championship. I promise you that. Thank y'all. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, the quarterback of the national champions, Matt Mock.
Thank you. Coming from Indiana, I really didn't know what SEC football was like, and I just wanted to thank you for far exceeding my expectations. It's been unbelievable, and the passion that you guys have for football is unbelievable. And I'd also like to say hi to Karen and BJ, and let them know that JB was with us this whole year and was really an inspiration to all of us, and without him, we couldn't have done it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Michael and Matt, and good luck to you young men. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the man who has led LSU football to the top of the mountain, everybody's National Coach of the Year, Nick Saban.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can promise you one thing, the weather might be better in California today, but they're not having this kind of a celebration because they don't have these trophies. You know, there's not been a lot said here today, and I'd like to say this first, that to receive an honor of Coach of the Year, as these trophies here have to be split up many, many, many ways. First of all, we have a great administration, a great chancellor. Skip's done a great job of setting the table as an athletic director to help us be successful. But we have a great coaching staff. Can all the coaches please stand up? A great coaching staff that has done a phenomenal job of working with the players. But most of all, these things should be split up about 120 different ways, because every player, regardless of what his role was on our team this year, and just about every guy put the team first in all respects, trusted in each other, was responsible for their own self-determination and what they did. This is the hardest working, best chemistry team I've ever been associated with, and their goal was not about winning games. It was about being a champion on and off the field. The most important thing are the players. Please stand up, guys. All the players. Players. One other thing I want to say is that we have the absolute greatest fans. This is the greatest place to be the coach of any place in the United States in any league. I certainly appreciate it. I know the players do. you make Tiger Stadium the most special place in the world to play a football game. There's no place like Tiger Stadium to play a football game. And I just would like for everybody to understand that this is a special group of young men. This is a special team. They have a tremendous amount of character. They competed with a tremendous amount of resiliency as a team this year. There was no adversity that this team could overcome. You think back in this season, we fumbled the ball on the 2-yard line. 2 plays later, we intercept it and get it back and get a score. Oklahoma scores in a game. We answer the bell on offense and score in a game. We turn it over at Ole Miss. We get it right back. This team had a tremendous amount of resiliency as a group of competitors. And I think to be a champion, you certainly have to be able to overcome adversity. And as a group of fans, we overcame this as a team. Everyone here today and everybody that supported this group of players is a part of this team. You helped us. You helped this team realize what it could accomplish, and this team's dedication, commitment to excellence, and the character that they competed with allowed them to take advantage of their gifts as a group. And something an accomplishment that none of us can ever forget, and I know it'll be next year's standard to try to repeat this, but the most important thing that we can do is to focus on what we have to do today so that we can get better and better and better as a team, so that we have the best chance to have the best program that's recognized as a dominant program in this country forevermore. And the reason that we want to be your coach here is because we know we have the type of passion and the type of fans and the kind of students who support that kind of program and that kind of success. This was a phenomenal year for all of us. It was a phenomenal year for the team. But I just want to say again, this group of players who worked so hard were the warriors who put their blood, their sweat, and their tears, no matter how big the battle, their heart always rung true to do what they were responsible to do so that they could help their team be successful. This is the most special group of guys that I've ever had the opportunity to be associated with for a season. It's more games than I've ever won as a coach, and they're responsible for it, and I'd like to see you give them a big hand and a big thank you again to the players on the team. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, about another Tiger Stadium roar for everybody's National Coach of the Year, Nick Saban. One more thing to do. We want you to direct your attention to that flagpole over there in the north end zone. The Bengal Bells are going to provide us this national championship flag that will forever fly over Tiger Stadium. And we're going to raise the flag. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now Saturday night in Death Valley, the home of the national champions of college football, your Fighting Tigers of LSU.
right, Bayou Sports Talk. I think a lot of you got a nice little kick out of that. Once again, in case you joined us late, that was highlights from Saturday's coverage of LSU being formally presented their championship and other trophies from this season in front of the fans at Tiger Stadium after the Parade of Champions, where the city of Baton Rouge recognized LSU and Southern University. Of course, Southern won the Black National Championship, as it's recognized this past season as well. Well, we promised you one more award for today's show, and I did give one away on Louisiana Live earlier today, but I'm not going to save it because you had to be listening to the show to hear it. But anyway, now we're going to give out our unofficial award for Best In-Studio Guest for my first year at Bayou Sports Talk. And if some of you have listened to the show, you probably already know who it is, because this by far was our most memorable in-studio show of the first year. And the winner is... Actually, we have 3 winners. It goes to Nika, Donna, and Christy, all members of the Bayou Bells from 2003, for giving us our most memorable show. So congratulations to them. Unfortunately, Donna and Christy aren't on the team anymore, to my knowledge. Nika is. Of course, Nika's the boss. She can put herself on the team for 20 years if she wants. But anyway, I promised Doug Berg I was going to say that, by the way. So anyway, so they win our award, so congratulations to them. Also, mysteriously, Donna and Christy will talk to me, but not Nika. So anyway, congratulations to the 3 of them. And of course, we all know the real reason why they've been named Best In-Studio Guest. It was because of the way they handled cheerleader trivia, which I thought was going to be a great concept, and it turned out to be a lot funnier. And if you don't believe me, talk to Laura McKnight and Joe Martinez. They were here when it happened, side-splitting, which, by the way, I have about 20 minutes of video footage. I brought my camcorder that day to record that monumental day. I don't have the whole show, unfortunately, so if anybody wants copies of the tape, let me know, and I'll try to provide it to you. It was very funny. Folks, it's 5:58. I guess I'm going to use this last minute to say a bunch of thank yous to people for sticking by me all this time through this first year. And I should give myself an award for being the most mispronounced sportscaster in the area, because I have just royally butchered some names. I didn't take time to rehearse before I went on the air, both names from the media and names from the world of sports. So I can't apologize enough for mispronouncing names. But thank you to Linda. Linda Bellinger's our general manager. We first met, ironically, leading into Hurricane Lily in October of 2002. And when Brennan left in late January of 03, she thought I was probably the best of the available candidates in the local area to take Brennan's spot. So we can't thank her enough for giving me that opportunity. We've had quite a good staff over here. And, of course, our current ownership, Mr. Treen and Vincent Bruno, John Treen, of course, who often is on Treen Talks when his brother, Governor Dave Treen, isn't in. And a lot of good staff right now. Of course, we got Jason and Keitha, Jennifer, of course, that does the board as well. And in addition, Christy, our secretary, Gene Richard, of course, who does dialogue in the morning, Al Carter as well. And, of course, we can't forget about Rainey, who, of course, does the morning news for us and works with Gene on dialogue. So for that reason, we need to feel sorry for Rainey. And, of course, Mike Blanchard in our sales department. And also want to say a special hello to Mr. Sadie, who called me yesterday, ironically, because I had a chance to send him copies of our anniversary series. I know he got a real huge kick out of that. Gosh, I know I'm going to be forgetting some people to thank. I got to thank all the guests who've made this show really funny. Of course, we mentioned Troy earlier. I definitely want to thank Buford Jordan for being part of our show, because Buford is an absolutely hysterical guy. And if you listen to the show, he really loves to laugh a whole lot. A lot of former players have been on the show, former Saints coach Dick Nolan, just countless people, folks. There's just not enough time to thank everybody. Of course, the family's been listening to me on and off, since I came on, so let's thank them as well. Assuming they're listening right now, they might be watching Angela Hill and Dennis Waltering instead of listening to me. But anyway, that's the breaks of life sometime. But folks, without you out there listening, and let's not forget about the sponsors. We've had quite a few sponsors over the year. Of course, Robichaux Ford has been with us for a good while. It's just been an incredible ride, and I can't say enough. Of course, I've been with you, of course, to help you out with some of the weather situations as well. So let's hope we can make year 2 of Bayou Sports Talk, at least under my tenure, because Brennan did a wonderful job when he was here. But we're going to try to make my second year on Sports Talk a lot better than the first. We'll try to see what little novelties we can add along the way. And as always, if you have email questions for the show, write BayouSports2003@yahoo.com. Well, anyway, I got about a minute left before I got to rejoin the music. But hey, listen, folks, it's been a whole lot of fun. I greatly appreciate your patience, your fun along the way. You know, another sad thing, of course, we've lost some friends along the way, maybe lost some family we like to remember, and of course that's going to happen throughout our lifetime as we go along year by year. That's why it's important to appreciate all the time we have. Oh, one gentleman I would like to thank is Kenny Trahan. He's been on my show once, and of course we've heard his voice throughout Friday Night Football this year, doing a lot of great previews and post-game reviews throughout the season that we've carried here on KTIB-AM 640. We're going into our 51st year, and one thing we're probably going to try to have during this calendar year, we're going to try to have an unofficial part 2 of our 50th anniversary series, because there are some people and events we skipped that we're going to try to cover this year. We won't be doing them every Thursday, but we'll try to do them sporadically. Well, it's about time for the next song to come on, so I guess it's time for me to head out. So from me to all of you, thank you again for making this a very fun year. I'm William Taylor. We'll try to do better tomorrow. And as always, good night, Vanessa, wherever you are. Oldie 640 KTIB. Good night.
Your home for Nicholls State Sports, Oldie 640 KTIB.
At the top of the leaderboard, think he might have even taken over the #1 spot. So, I mean, it's, without question, there's still things that he needs to work on. But, you know, when you just don't make bad throws, put your team in a bad situation, you know, it always gives you a chance to win. So, just hope that maturation process and the progression that he is going through as an NFL starting quarterback continues to grow from this season to next, because, you know, he's obviously their guy for the long term, so he needs to continue to grow.
Didn't have his security blanket in Joe Horn today, who is so effective as a third down receiver and usually his go-to guy in clutch situations. Really didn't have any running game as Deuce McAllister was shut down by this excellent Cowboy defense, and yet he did the right things. He did enough to win, including that big strike to Dante Stallworth, and as we mentioned at the time, you can only sit and wonder what this season might have been like if he'd been able to play all 16 games.
Well, and let's not also forget the way that Aaron spread the ball around today. I mean, Dante had the biggest game of his career. He got through a lot of good passes to Boo Williams. Jerome Pathan was hitting him with the ball. Michael Lewis came up with several big catches today. So, you know, I think that shows right there that Aaron is, you know, growing up as a quarterback and everything else, that when you don't have your #1 guy out there, you start spreading it around to different people. And, hey, were the Cowboys a great football team today? Not necessarily, but, you know, at least Aaron Brooks and the Saints offense did what they needed to do to win this ball game.
Well, my thanks once again to Robert Carroll, Larry Madsen, Brian Lazar, Derek Henderson, Hokie Kaijan, and Kenny Wilkerson for an enjoyable season overall. Had some moments of disappointment, but all seasons do. I thank you once again for your efforts, and it's nice to finish on a win today, as the Saints have done. Once again, the final score, New Orleans 13 and Dallas 7. Stay tuned for the Dodge Ram Locker Room Show coming up next on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Roby Show Ford has trucks, and more trucks. They're overstocked. Go to Roby Show Ford and drive away with a 2003 Ford Ranger regular cab for $89.97. Need more room? Save now on getting a Ford Ranger Super Cab XLT, V6, air conditioner, chrome wheels for only $12,986. Carrying extra cargo? Check out the Ford Ranger Trimmer Super Cab, fog lamps, all power, definitely a must-see truck for only $15,986. Close out 2003 with great savings on all Ford Ranger trucks, priced right and ready to roll at Roby Show Ford, 272 West Main Street, Thibodaux. Sale price excludes tax, title, and license. Credit permitting. All rebates applied.
You're listening to New Orleans Saints football on Oldie 640 KTIB, Thibodaux, Houma. Good times, great oldies, and New Orleans Saints football.
Welcome back to the Dome, everyone. Larry Madsen with you. We'll give you the quarter-by-quarter scores. The Saints led 3-0 at the end of the first period. They led 10-7 at halftime. There was only a field goal in the third quarter, but it was the Saints, so